So this is a screenshot of some of my campaigns. Here is a Facebook report of some of my campaigns. And you notice I have it set up a lot like you. I've got my page views, add to carts, and purchases. Registrations are from the old pixel. Facebook does not, in 6 months from now, is not going to support the old pixel. Everything's to the new pixel. So just
Okay.
imagine that this is not even here, okay? We're looking at key page view, add to cart, and purchase. And then we've got our cost per conversion, which is right here. Ooh, that's a really big one. We've got our cost per conversion, and we've got how much money we've spent, which is right here. And then we've got how much money we actually made, which is the purchase value, okay? So this is exactly how you got yours set up. You can see all the page views, you can see all the add to carts, and then the actual purchases. Now, if you look at the cost per conversion, or the cost per purchase, or whatever you want to call it, you can see in this lineup here that there is a lot of numbers happening. But you've got this one that is costing me $16 per conversion. That's not really a profitable ad for me. But look, I've spent $50 and I've made 57. So Facebook says I've spent 50 and I've made 57. And that's because people didn't just come and buy one item, because my items are the same price as yours. They're $10.97. So if they only bought 3 items, technically, I would have only made $33. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But they didn't. They went in and they purchased an additional 2 or 3 items, is what it looks like. So I'm letting that ad run because it's dang near break even. And you can see it's a pretty new ad. It's only had 7,000 impressions, meaning that, this ad has only been running for like 3 days. So I know that it's going to get smarter, and that cost per conversion is going to start to drop down lower and lower and lower. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Now, this ad down here at the bottom, my cost per conversion is $4.96. I've spent $54 on it, and it's made me $139 out of 11 purchases. So we've had, looks like 2 or 3 people buy more than one item. So another metric that you want to look at in Facebook reporting that really ensures 100% that you're making the right decision, because Facebook gives you everything you need to make the right decision. You just have to know to look for it, right? If my conversion value, my purchase value, is more than the amount of money I've spent, that's all that matters to me. That I know I'm profiting. This one right here, I spent $40 to make 95. But here's where this is perfect. I'm going to highlight these 2 in orange. This ad right here on the bottom has a lower cost per conversion than this ad right here. You can see that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're just looking at cost per conversion, we would both agree that this ad has a cost per conversion of 582 looks like it would be a more profitable ad than the one above it that is costing me another like 30 or 40 cents per conversion. Yes?
Yes.
But that's not actually the case, because if you look at the sales numbers, this ad I've spent $55 on, and it's made me 156 out of 9 purchases. So the people that are coming in from this ad on average are buying multiple items. Whereas this ad down here has a little bit lower cost per conversion, but my ROI isn't as good. This ad up here made me 3 times the amount of money that I spent. This one down here made me about 2 times what I actually spent. So when I'm looking at my numbers and I'm trying to look at what ads to turn off, I don't always say, oh my gosh, this one right here has got an $8 cost per conversion. And I've only had 5 conversions. And in my head, I'm saying, okay, well, I'm only making $11 per sale, so that's $55. So over here, you can see Facebook records how much people actually spend on your site. It actually is almost 2 times my ad spend, so I wouldn't shut it down. But I want to know what my average customer acquisition is, and that is a very important metric. But Facebook lets us identify how much a customer is actually spending. Like this customer just spent $39.80. That means that customer went in and they bought 4 items, not just one. Does that make sense, Ty?
Yeah,
Yes.
let me just interject for just a second. There's something that I think a little bit touched on in the kind of pre-training that we did with you, me, Liz, and Ty. And, Liz has that incredible poker background to where I think, just so you guys know, I think Liz actually made like $40 million total playing poker. Can you believe that? Crazy. And one of the things that she would do, a lot of times if people would kind of watch over her shoulder, they would say many, many times that, and even they would think this to themselves, that she was like a quote unquote bad player because a lot of times she was making like not mathematically the smartest move based on the cards on the table. You don't have to be a poker genius to understand what I'm saying. Just basically, there's sort of odds that say, okay, you've got these cards in your hand, there's these cards on the table, and at the end of the day, you're like this likely to win or something like that. It's basically the idea. And sometimes she would basically, what it amounts to be, like she would spend much more on a hand than the odds said was right. Now, of course, somebody could say, well, she's bluffing, but actually she wasn't bluffing. What she was doing, and this relates directly to what you're saying, Adrian, is she was buying information about her competition. So sometimes she would she wasn't trying to, again, I'm making a distinction. She wasn't trying to lure them into a false sense of security or anything like that. It wasn't a bluff. She was literally, she knew that in some occasions she was better off paying money out and literally losing money because her formula was to, overall just win $1 a hand and play about 1 million hands a year or, whatever it wound up being, because she was playing multiple kinds of. It might be kind of a little harder to imagine somebody playing 1 million poker hands. She actually had 20 royal flushes, so that gives you a sense of how many hands she played, like a lot. But my point in saying this is, and actually Liz is actually over here right now. I'm actually going to see if she can just talk about this for a second, because you're talking about the $16 Facebook ad up here, and I'm showing this to Liz right now, so she's a little bit walking out of the blue, but she probably has a good sense for what I'm talking about. And you spent $50 and you only made $57 back. So somebody could look at that and say, hey, that's a loser. But what you just said to me, Adrian, is that that what you're doing in that case is you're like buying information. Liz, since you're just here right now and you're watching, can you explain a little bit more about like buying information in poker and how that relates in online money getting?
Right. It's like really important because in poker sometimes you pay to see what a guy shows at the river, so that you buy information about how he's going to play potential hands in the future. So in this case, it looks like you're buying information to, number one, build a pixel for the data. It's primarily what you're doing. So a lot of times it looks like bad, like to the average person that would look like, oh, that's a losing proposition. But in fact, in the long run, it's a winning proposition because you now have that information available to you in order to make better decisions, or in this case, in order for Facebook to give you much better targeting.
Adrian, does that make sense? I think she's included.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I'm doing on this top ad up here. It looks on the surface like it's losing me money, and you know what? It has. It's lost me probably like I don't know, $5 or so after product cost. But what it's doing in turn is it's getting more traffic to my site, and it is generating sales, add to carts, page views, and that's very valuable data for Facebook's pixel to start inhaling. And it's going to make the pixel smarter and smarter and smarter. So this ad, if left alone and I let it go for like 7 days or whatever, after this pixel learns more about who inside this audience is actually viewing, adding to cart, and purchasing, it may turn into a very profitable ad because I'm willing to spend a little bit of money on this ad, so I can get that data to Facebook so they can in turn use that information to be more likely and more inclined to find me buyers. A lot of people would kill this ad. And this ad for me in 7 days may look like these ads down here and be a very profitable ad. It just took it the pixel a little bit longer to find, the buyers for it. And that's what's so great about the Facebook pixel. And it's also what's very important that people understand is that the pixel is not magic. It doesn't just know. You have to feed it so it can grow, right? When you got to go to school oftentimes and read books to gain knowledge. You have to intake information to gain knowledge. So I try to get as much information to my Facebook pixel as possible through my ads, so it gets smarter and smarter and smarter. And so many times I've seen campaigns that did not look profitable turn into campaigns that were mega profitable. Now, that's not to say you should just sit there and lose money, right? That's kind of dumb. But if it's one of those that's on the edge, if it's on the fence, right? It's not losing you a ton of money or it's breaking even. Why would you turn it off when it's getting in valuable information that you can go back and look at later, so you know what not to do or what to do, and you're getting information on that pixel and making it smarter, bigger, and faster.
Can you help us understand how the pixel actually operates and what it actually does here for a moment, kind of like a little bit on pixel understanding here?
Sure. When you log into Facebook, like Ty did, Facebook gives every user a pixel. And you just simply place, it's a little bitty line of code. You just copy and paste it to your Shopify account. And that pixel identifies every single user that hits your store. And it follows them around the store. And it follows them through, are they viewing multiple pages on your site? Are they adding products to the cart? And are they actually purchasing those products? And it's learning more and more and more about what people are doing on your site. We would all agree that Facebook knows literally almost everything about their users. Facebook is just like the King Kong of data. I mean, when we get on Facebook, they follow what we like, what we share, what kind of profile pictures we add. Do we use mobile more than desktop? What sites we visit and what TV shows we watch? We freely and openly give Facebook all of that data. So that pixel looks at the people that are purchasing my products, and it says, what do all of these purchasers have in common? What gender are they? What age group are they in? Are they mobile or desktop users? What are their main interests? Are they dog owners, cat owners? Anything you can think of. Facebook's algorithm is so intelligent that it could take all of these website viewers, all of these add to cart people, all of these buyers, and it can say, what do all of these people have in common? And then Facebook can say, okay, well, it looks like all of these buyers are female, or 90% of them are female. So Facebook might take your ad and push it more to females than it would males if you were targeting both genders, which is exactly what I'm doing for a lot of my campaigns. Now, earlier with Ty's ad, I said, duh, this is a heart pendant. Clearly, this is something that's going to be more geared toward females. But if it's a product that's unisex, Facebook would be able to quickly identify male or female buyers. Age groups. Notice that, look at my targeting over here on the left where it says age group. I'm literally targeting 18 to 65-year-olds on the majority of my campaigns. Why? Because I don't really have to know what age group is buying. Facebook's going to know. And Facebook is going to target those age groups before any of the other ones, because that pixel says, oh, all of these buyers are in this age group right here. So Facebook is going to start intentionally sifting through all of the audiences and targeting my ad to, let's say, the 25 to 30-year-olds if they're the buyers before anybody else. So that's why I'm not getting nitty gritty with my age group targeting, because I know that Facebook pixel will identify what age group is purchasing my products the most, and it will intentionally and automatically, efficiently show my ads to those people that are more likely to convert before it shows it to anybody else. And that's what I was saying earlier, is once you get a lot of data to your pixel, a lot of buyers for page views, add to carts, and purchases, which my pixel now has like well over 100,000 purchases on it. It just knows, the Facebook users, what they have in common, and which people to try to show the ads to first. And you don't want to overcomplicate the Facebook pixel, okay? It's one teeny tiny little line of code that you copy and paste to Shopify. Here's what you need to know. Put the pixel on your Shopify store. Let Facebook optimize your ads to convert. Don't think about anything else. I don't go to Best Buy and go up to the Geek Squad when they fix my computer and say, how did you take the computer apart and sift through everything and find the problem? I don't care. I paid the Geek Squad to fix my computer because I don't have time to deal with learning how to fix it myself. So I paid them to fix it. I go pick it up. I've got a computer that works. I pay Facebook to find the buyers. I don't really care how they're finding it, how their algorithm works. All I care about is that if I use this little silly Facebook pixel, it's going to bring buyers to me. And at the end of the day, I'm more concerned about the money going into my bank account than how Facebook's algorithm works with their pixel. Does that make sense?
It really does. Yep.
So don't waste your time trying to figure out how the pixel works. Just know that it works. If you put it on your store and you do what I tell you to do, then it's going to do what it's supposed to do. Let Facebook worry about how their pixel works. You just use it and let it work for you. Otherwise, go apply for a job at Facebook, and then maybe you can worry about how their algorithms work. So that's what I was saying earlier, though, is keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Knowing how the pixel, and I'm not saying anything to you, Mike, about the question you asked. I've just seen thousands upon thousands of students get so caught up in how the pixel works that they forget to actually ever make an ad and make money. So just know that it works. Put that bad boy on your Facebook ad and let it work its magic and enjoy your life.
Tremendous. I actually have a couple questions I've gotten in the Facebook group, but it's more optimal to try to continue questions that she has right now.
I had a question about this. Is this a specific report that you pulled from Facebook, or is this something that you designed yourself? How can I get a report like this to look at it, to view, to make sure that, I'm making money and things are going according to plan?
This is from, you can do this in Facebook or Quaya. I pulled this from Quaya just because that's, you can you can manage your ads in Quaya or you can manage them in Facebook. And the columns that I just showed you how to set up, these are the exact columns we just set up. But we didn't put registrations in there because that's no longer, in 6 months, that's not going to matter. So you can do the same thing in Quaya when you go to manage your campaigns. You can put the columns in there just like so, or you could do it in Facebook.
Okay. And then I had another question regarding the Facebook ads because you said, since it's a new pixel, we want to do the view cart thing. So the ad is going and it's going great. And now let's say I've had, I'm past my 25 sales or what have you. Do I change the ad or do I need to create a new ad to where I want to change it to the cart purchase part of it
Great question.
or the pixel?
My motto is don't fix it if it's not broken. If your
Okay.
ad is profiting, don't mess with it. But what you may
Okay.
want to do is create an additional ad, an additional campaign, and have that one optimized for purchases and
Okay.
let it run and see if it ends up being a more profitable ad than the other one. That's the beautiful part about Facebook is you can run multiple ads to the same audience at the same time, and you can clearly see the data of which one's working the best. And you can just kill the losers and stick with the winners. Common sense says if you're optimizing toward purchases, if your pixel has enough purchase data, that one's probably going to work the best. Not always the case, but usually a purchase pixel is going to work the best after a while. It's going to give you lower cost per conversions. So yeah, what I would do is when you've had 25 sales or more, I would just create an additional ad, same targeting, but it's optimized for purchases rather than view content, and see how that pans out. And it may end up being an ad that gives you way more ROI.
Okay. And would you say would that be 25 sales for the entire site or 25 sales for that one particular product?
25 sales for that particular product would be more ideal.
Okay.
Because, it depends. What is your site selling? Is it all steampunk jewelry? If so, then 25 sales overall would be totally fine. But if you have like a very general store that's selling like cat products, but then is also selling steampunk jewelry, the pixel, may have 12 sales from cat buyers and 13 sales from steampunk buyers. So it's not going to be, it's still great. It's just not going to be as accurate.
But by the way, interestingly enough, I just got a message from two OMGers. I put a little post in the Facebook group, and both of them actually have made their first sale. Interestingly enough, let me make another little note, which is, and this kind of piles on top of the idea that Liz said about buying information, is that we really have kind of like a win-win-win when we're making sales, where every time we make a sale, then we are gaining inherent value from the sale itself, because it is building our pixels buyer data. And so by building our pixels buyer data, then we are gaining something of inherent value. And this is one of the reasons why when I go a little bit into the concept of why it is that kind of the ideal approach with this is spending more money is better than spending less money. Now, and again, we are going to really go back after the fact and try to explain more of a bootstrap method for getting started with this approach. But again, that's again kind of like one of the reasons why the fast and furious method is quite great. You know, if you happen to have money to invest in things. And let's see if I can say something else that is useful until Adrian.
The thing that I was going to say is that not only do you have the data, but then you also have those people that did purchase on your email list. And that's the ultimate goal, is to have people on your list, because you can market to them over and over. And, you know, the lifetime value of that customer is going to be a lot more than what he has here on this example of $57.
Correct. Another thing, we flat out know from, and Adrian's back now, we flat out know from search engine optimization. So again, one thing that we're gaining, and again, this is one of the reasons why the fast and furious method is ideal. And if you don't have cash, remember, you can get an investor. You can just even show them. One of the things I'm going to ask Adrian to do at the end is kind of tally up and give us a sense. You know, we've been, for us, we started this webinar just a little after 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, and who knows when we're going to end it. But when we do end it, I'm very curious for how much money Adrian made in sales during the webinar. We know that me and Ty made $10, so we're pretty excited. But anyways, and really am. But there's so many things that we're gaining from this. So we gain, we build our pixel every time we make a sale. We strengthen it. We gain data that way. Like Ty said, we're constantly gaining people on our email list, as we outlined in the pre-training. Both, in cases we can get abandoned cart emails and make sales to them. I think we covered that. But definitely to say, buyers, we're building a buyer's list, so we're building an email list as well. And there's also just implications for search engine optimization. The more we have people on our website who are clicking around and looking at things and so forth, then if we're going to SEO our site, then we gain some great stuff from that as well. And I believe so Adrian, you're back, and that also catches you up with the little sideline that we talked about, and obviously that just spelled you for a little moment. I don't know if you heard this, Adrian, but we actually have 2 OMGers that have written in during this event, because I made a little post, Abby and Adrian, and they have both made their first sales on Shopify doing your system. So that's additionally exciting. Abby's going to actually try to jump on the webinar with her question. She's working on restarting her computer to get that up. And if Ty doesn't have another question here, then I'll supply another question for you. Or, of course, you can say something. Ty, did you have another question at the ready?
Yes, I did have another question just regarding planning out. Do you plan out your promotions and have them scheduled to go out on a certain day? Because one thing about me, I'm a planner. So does it make sense to I have all of these products on my site. I have all the product images ready to go. Plan out these posts in Facebook and schedule them out to go to run, and then start to just track everything to see what's getting the sales, what's getting the clicks, what's getting the best data, and go from there. Do you do that, or is that recommended?
It's very. I'm the exact opposite of you, Ty. I'm very ADD, and I forget what I'm saying while I'm saying it, and half the time people say stuff to me, I end up looking out the window and thinking about something else because I'm just so ADD. So okay. I am not a planner. I don't plan things. I don't schedule things. I live in the moment and take action. So if right now I'm thinking, I want to launch this campaign for this product. I see it, boom, I instantly create a campaign. It doesn't matter what time of the day, what time of the night. Sometimes I'll launch campaigns at 3 a.m. So I don't have a planned schedule or anything like that. I just simply launch campaigns in the moment when I see something that excites me. I instantly, right then and there, go build a campaign for it. I've literally gotten up from dinner before because an idea hit me, and I'd be with a bunch of friends, said, I gotta go, see ya, and I'll leave and I'll run home to my computer and build a campaign. So I'm a pretty quirky guy, I guess you could say, but I get so excited about it that I just instantly do it. Now, in terms of assessing the data, I do have a schedule. On the third day of each campaign, I go back and I look at the overall performance. And if I've had 0 conversions on that campaign, I'm like, oh, this isn't good. I've spent $15 to $20 in the past 3 days, and it has not shown any promise at all. Whereas if I've had 1 conversion on it, I'm like, okay, well, I'm only negative 50%, or 100%, whatever. But it did make a sale. So this campaign does have promise. So I'll let it run for another like 2 or 3 days and see if it gets any more, see if that pixel builds up. Another great identifier is, you can see here on my screen, Facebook identifies how many people view it, how many people add it to cart, and how many people purchase it. So one like big red light is if you've got a bunch of people viewing and you don't see anybody adding to cart and it's been 3 days, I definitely would kill it. But if I'm seeing a bunch of people add it to the cart, then, I might let it run a little bit, another 2 or 3 days, because people are almost buying it. So maybe it just takes a couple more. Like this ad in the center had 93 people add it to their cart and 7 purchased. That's a little bit less than this one up here that have 48 people add it to the cart and 5. So, these metrics will help you identify what you should do.